I have 3 ideas for you today. This is the first one. They're going to go pretty fast, and you'll need clay and ink. These are the colors I'm going to use. I am using quite a few different colors in here, but really you can kind of scale it back and use as many as you like. You can use whatever colors you like. Obviously, if you don't like pink, you can go with another color, but I tend to gravitate towards like pinks and reds and purples and such. But this is the project idea that I was playing around with. And I've really been into some translucent clay lately. And this time I'm going to add some pearl, because pearl is a very pretty color. I love it. It's so sparkly and shimmery, and it's a lot of fun to work with too. It also does quite well with ink colors. I did get this idea from Clay Boutique. I love her stuff. It's quite fabulous. She's a genius. I wish I could be her. But she did have this in a video, so I did want to give her credit for that. I don't know if other people have also done this or not, but I saw it and I was like, this would be perfect for the idea that I was kind of thinking about doing. So, link in the description box below if you haven't heard of her, but I'm sure a lot of people have because her channel is quite popular. Basically, I kind of wanted a shimmery see-through piece to kind of sit over my ink piece that I'm going to make. So I saw this on her channel and fell in love with it. You'll just need your translucent clay and some pearl clay. And basically you'll take your translucent clay and then you'll take 3 pieces of pearl clay and then divide those up so that you have a small piece, a larger piece, and a really large piece. Mix those up. You'll have your 3 pieces, which you saw me do in the previous scene. And then you'll also need 2 additional pieces of translucent. And basically you can stack these in any way you want to. You'll just need to make sure that you have a piece of translucent basically between the layers. And you won't really need to roll this out a whole lot, just kind of rolling it to get everything together. Maybe thin it out just a scotch. And then you will cut it in half and then stack it on top of each other. I kind of bend mine sometimes to try to get a better eyeballed, exactly in the middle kind of a cut. Sometimes, you know, our eyeballs or our brains are a little bit whacked out for that day or something, and we can't quite make a center cut. So then you just stack it again, like I said, and then roll it just gently. You do want a nice block or brick, and then you can use whatever size tool that you have, or something that's kind of thicker that you can make indentations into the clay. You can make them completely random. Mine actually do come out into like a diamond kind of a pattern, but you can make lines just going straight down and maybe across like a tic-tac-toe kind of a box. You can do whatever you want. You can put as few or as many as you want. The more you have, the more intricate the pattern's going to be. And then once you have done that once, you'll go ahead and squish it back together and get it back into a brick as much as possible. And with the micas in there, it kind of makes the color shift, so that, and with the translucent, you'll have some parts that are going to be like see-through and other parts that aren't. So this is a lot of fun. And then again, you'll just flip it over and you're going to do the same to the back side. Since we didn't go all the way through the clay, that way both sides kind of have patterns. I'll be using translucent and some alcohol inks. What I was originally trying to do with this was make a solid background and then put drops on top, and then within each of those drops I wanted to make another color drop and another color drop, so to kind of make like a rippled effect in it, or a water ripple, but having different colors within it. And each color I put in there I was hoping would, you know, kind of alter the previous color a little bit, so it would make it darker or make it lighter. The colors would blend together, but in the end you can't quite see those distinctions once the clay is baked and all that, so you can kind of skip over this, but you do need to put some kind of pattern in the back. So if you want to just dot some on there randomly wherever, you can totally do that. if you have some other kind of pattern idea that you want to put underneath here, feel free to do that too. But you'll see there, as you put it on, it'll kind of blend out or bleed out, and it kind of makes like a ripply kind of pattern, and each one's a little different. So it does show through a little bit, and you'll see when I'm done with the pieces, you'll kind of see them, and they're all pointed out. But this part is just kind of showing you what I was doing and the colors I was using. Just a lot of pinks and reds, and then I chose purple because purple does bake out to be kind of pink, so that's why I kind of chose that. But with the blending of all the other colors, it kind of made it a little bit darker when it did bake, so it did slightly alter the whole entire look of the piece. So sometimes it's really hard to tell what something's going to look like, because unless you have your specific colors you like using and you've used them so much and you know exactly what they look like when they bake, and I'm sure that each alcohol ink brand is probably slightly different. You'll just need your inked piece to dry before putting on your top piece. I'm just cutting away very, very slender or slim pieces or thin pieces, and then I'm still going to need to kind of stretch them out and roll them out, make them fairly thin, but it's kind of hard to cut that thin of a slice, so you can kind of cut them a little bit thicker and then just roll them out and make them like a big large sheet. So this is my piece, and I'll just kind of stretch it out a little bit, and I'll have to put several on top of here. You can lay yours out in whatever pattern you want to. I was just kind of going for random here, so totally up to you how you want to lay yours out. And in some of the other pieces I'm going to show you later on, I did roll out the white clay much thinner than this project, but you can kind of see the differences with each project and how thin you want to make that top piece. And also when you put it on there and you roll it out, it's going to thin it out also. I don't want it to be 100% translucent or clear or see-through in these spots where I'm putting the white on there. I do want it to kind of show through a little bit, and the color is bleeding through, as you can see, but that kind of just adds to the beauty of the piece. There's one of the finished pieces, and you can see you can't quite see through it, but you can tell where the translucent is because it's a different color than the shimmery part. So I really, really like it. Adds a lot of depth to the piece, I think. And then you'll see the splotches there on the right side pretty well. So you can't really see the ripple effect I was kind of going for, but it still came out quite pretty, and I am quite happy with it. I love the colors together. I love that shimmery shimmer to it. You can see an up-close picture there. And then on to the second idea, and I have one more after this. I will be using basically the same things. I'm going to use the leftover brick that I made, and then some more pearl clay. You can just roll that out. I am making mine probably on the thinner side, and I am going to put a backing on this, so that's kind of why. This is all of the scraps from the first project. I am doing my best to use all of my scraps, and I have been successful. I'm so happy. But basically, you just want to mush all this together, squish it together, roll it out, and you're going to come out with a beautiful pink color. Obviously, if you use different colors, you're just going to come out different. But this color is superb. It's quite pretty. Then you can just stack your pearl on top, and you won't need a lot of clay for each of these projects. So obviously you saw what I made and the amount of clay that was left over, so you really don't need a lot. And you can save all those scraps and use them in the last project using some scraps again. So a nice thick piece so we can roll it out. These are the colors I'm going to use. Totally optional, but I like to test mine out on a piece of paper and then let them dry so I can kind of see what they look like together. So I'll kind of place them out side by side. So that's kind of how I chose these colors, just they thought they looked good together. But in the end, I actually use a whole lot more in this project because I was like, you know what? Only the 3 colors is not going to be enough variety for me. You can just make your circles bigger and you won't need as many, but the smaller the circle, the more colors, the more pattern that's going to show through on this one from the back, because I do make the top part a lot thinner. So it's going to show through a lot. And I am overlapping the dots, which turns out pretty cool because you can kind of see the different colors and the overlapping, almost like it's see-through. But you can use whatever colors you like I said. It'd be kind of fun just to do like a pink and red variation of this, so making different pinks maybe. But it came out really pretty. I kind of wanted just to cut something out and make something like this out of this, so. But I didn't. I decided to continue on with the finishing idea of what I was gonna do. Taking that block, and this time I'm gonna roll that clay out thinner than the previous one, so that more of the back pattern will show through. Made it as thin as I could before it started to rip. It's kind of the thing with rolling it by hand. It does get pretty thin and brittle, so you gotta be careful with that. Then just kind of putting it on the clay and then stretching it out once it's on there, just a little bit, just slightly tugging. You can see already that the pattern is coming through from behind. You can see those yellows and pinks and blues. And then again, I am going to burnish and roll it out a little bit thinner than it is, so it's also going to kind of stretch everything out. I just love the way this one turned out. I think I like this one the best out of all of them, but you can let me know in the comments below which one of these 3 ideas you like. Quite pretty, I think. I think. Then of course you can cut out whatever shapes you want, and I will show you at the end, after the 3rd project, what I made from this. Again, these are the itty-bitty amounts of scrap that I have left over, so I'm gonna use those. And I actually made a couple of additional pieces from the scraps that I've had, and I just kind of made those as I was going along. I didn't put them in this video or anything. There were nothing crazy or special that I thought that you needed to see, but I'm just letting you know I kind of used everything up. And then this is a little bit more of that clay from the previous one that I made, that pretty pink. Stretched it out super thin, and that was just to kind of coat the back so it's a nice solid color in the back instead of kind of all splotchy in different colors. And then again, I'll be using my brick of clay here, and I will roll it out thin and then put it over top again. I ended up only getting 1 piece from this because the amount of clay was so little here. I just kind of stretched it out a little bit to be able to make 2 earrings out of this. Again, you could stretch this out super thin and then put another backing on the back if you wanted to. Totally up to you. You could totally just play around and just see what you come up with. These are beautiful. I love the way these turned out. This is from the 2nd idea. I just really like that gold with it too. I kind of think it just sets it all off. I love that you can see the circle dots underneath that pattern. And then on the left one there, you can kind of see the swirls in it. And this one, you can really see the swirls in the lines and like the lacy kind of a pattern on top. I really like that. I don't know, it reminds me of like a birthday party. It looks like balloons in the background. And then this is from the 3rd idea. They all turned out pretty in their own way. Let me know which one you liked. Don't forget to check out my other channel, Frugally Delicious. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!